Welcome to Silicon Sports Spectator. I'm Joe, checking in for all about the fan experience across Bay Area professional sports. Thanks so much for listening. Our show's growing. It's great to have the support. I really appreciate it. Bunch of things going on, but I'm really jazzed right now because here I am. It's Thursday evening on the 27th of February, and both the Sharks and the Warriors are on the East Coast tonight. They just wrapped up their games, and man, my adrenaline is pumped because Stephen Curry just did it again. Another incredible performance, dropped 56 on the Orlando Magic in a come-from-behind victory. The guy had 12 three-pointers tonight, just put on one of his classic Curry flurry moments, and was just absolutely incredible to watch. So tune into the highlights for that one, and certainly if you're local, you'll be hearing them all day long. It was incredible to see. And a couple thoughts about that. Getting the Warriors now. Everything's in perspective now since this Jimmy Butler trade. I think the Warriors now, I think it's 8-1 since the trade. It's just looking fantastic. And I think this is exactly the kind of injection. There's nothing else from a energy and leadership perspective. It is just so cool to watch. Jimmy's stat line wasn't even that great tonight, but just watching him play and just how smart he is, both ends of the ball. But, even offensively, he's not wasting, on useless three-pointers or anything like that. He's very particular about his shot, but when in doubt, he drives to the bucket, gets to the free throw line, and keeps offense running. And it's great to see, especially in those off Steph minutes when he is usually leading the pack there. It's really effective and great to see. So hats off to Jimmy Butler and all of the Warriors. Also wanted to give really honorable mention tonight to another performer that's probably going to get overlooked, certainly overshadowed by Stephen Curry, is tonight for the Warriors, Quentin Post, our rookie big man. Where's he from? Belgium? He just looked incredible. No, Netherlands. We'll look it up. But he looked great. Again, kind of an unremarkable first half, but then goes off in the second half. I think he had 16 points in the second half. Presence and impact felt on both ends of the ball. He's blocking shots. He's playing D. He's posting up. He's shooting threes. I love him as ingredient to what the Warriors are doing again. And it's no surprise that he's been coming along, especially kind of in this second half of the season when we kind of have a new look. And he's made himself important enough to be a consistent part of the lineup. Yeah. Don't forget, we also have Jonathan Kuminga coming back too. So I'm just to see how that works. And I'll be completely honest. I have not been the biggest supporter of Jonathan Kuminga. Yes, I think he's very talented and so forth, but more just that I thought he doesn't fit in our system. Someone that, can be like the third option sometimes or whatever, and just too much inconsistency. I think if he does find a place, drive into the basket, playing some D and so forth, he can be really impactful. And I would love to see him get consistent scoring. So can fill in that in consistently. I think that's the key aspect, consistency for him. I'll be certainly rooting for him. But if not, big trade asset for next year. But we'll see. Elsewhere with the Warriors, I got to give a big note earlier this week, or I guess last week, was the retirement of Andre Iguodala's number. It really got me thinking. Great flashback moments. Certainly, I think when he was traded to us in, I believe it was 2014, that really signaled kind of the first piece of the championship puzzle, the dynasty puzzle, if you will. Yes, Steph and Clay were on the team. Draymond was on the team at that point, but there was a lot of uncertainty still at that point. I think when we got Andre, the Warriors had made the playoffs with them, knocked Denver out where Andre was playing in 2013. And I think Andre, and he talks about this both in interviews. I recommend his biography. It's worth a good read, but he talks about this moment where he sees these up-and-coming Warriors and decides, hey, I want to be a part of this. And I always respected that about Andre, is that how smart he is, playing chess when others are playing checkers type things. So absolutely just a great leader. When I look back at his career with the Warriors during those dynasty years for championships with us, he plays an important role and a different role each one of those years. But, he makes himself or made himself important in each one of those championships. If it was defense that was needed, if it was offense that was needed, if it was, hey, I'm barely getting any playing time, but I'm going to be a leader and help coach this team or run plays, whatever it was, and just be a leadership presence. And I think what is very telling too is that, especially like in this celebration that he had, all the players coming back. This was the game against Dallas because Clay came back out just to watch this ceremony and stuff too. So that was, I think it says a lot about him, about how well liked he was in the locker room. And it's certainly a well-deserved honor getting his number retired. He is forever important for this franchise and for that dynasty. How cool is that? I think one of my favorite memories of Andre while playing, especially there were a lot of these flashing back, just game winners that he hit or key defensive stops and everything. But if I had a favorite Andre Iguodala moments, I just think of the championship parade, actually, where he came off the bus and was walking along the crowd. And a lot of guys do that and so forth. But I remember just being there and watching him, and I don't know, he just had this great way with the crowd, and really happy for him and his success. And watch out for him, just because post-NBA career, a lot of people kind of pegged him just, he'll go into coaching because he is well respected by the players and he's so smart. This is another great example of Andre playing chess when others are playing checkers. I think Andre has even bigger ambitions than the NBA. Or actually, I know this, but he is involved, like he started his own venture funds. He is big into tech investing and beyond the world of basketball, too. And I know he's also working on his golf game too. He's a scratch golfer. It's one of the best ones. I would love, talk about one-on-ones. I'd love to see Steph Curry and Andre Iguodala on the golf course. Like, how cool would that be to see? That would be a good, they do those golf celebrity matches on TV. The two of them would be fun to watch. I think I saw Andre play one year at Pebble in the AT&T 1 year too, which really cool to see that too. So congratulations to Andre Iguodala. Like I say, check out his autobiography as well. I did the audiobook version of it, and he acts as the narrator too for his own book, which it's always a unique thing when the author reads their own book. So yeah, check that out as well. I mentioned the Sharks played tonight. Just tell me if you've heard this before. The Sharks enter the third period with the lead and quickly give up a tying goal, take a bunch of bad penalties, lose it late or in overtime. And it's already happened twice on this Canadian road trip that they're on, against Winnipeg, against the top team in the league right now. And against Winnipeg, we're holding them 1-0 to the last 10 seconds of regulation. Winnipeg, of course, gets the tying goal. Then they score quickly in overtime. Just a heartbreaker. Tonight, they had Montreal in Montreal. Kind of similar thing. It's a good game back and forth, 3-3, and give up a beauty of a goal, I admit, in overtime. The Shark pieces are coming together. I'm probably obnoxiously apologetic for the Sharks in the sense that as I watch them play, yes, there are a lot of flaws and weaknesses, and there's still so many positives, and we know it's a rebuild year, of course, or a rebuild era, if you will. But I see so many shining points of hope beyond just Macklin Celebrini, who is fantastic to watch. Tonight, Will Smith, I think, was one of the best players on the ice for either side, but especially for the Sharks, had a goal and an assist, hit the post late, which would have been the go-ahead goal. I swear, Will started out this year with, I don't know, there was all this buzz about him and so forth. Slow start to the season. It's been great, but all of a sudden, I don't know, his progress late the second half of the season has been great. He's on this scoring streak right now. I don't know how many games, but I think they said across 12 games, he scored 10 points and just great to watch. But you can just see tangibly the improvements almost game after game, how much he improves. Macklin has been great, of course, consistently great in two ways. With Will, it's cool to see is that there's more tangible improvements that you can see. And I'm really excited to see where he goes with us again. And I don't think he's even 20 years old yet. So, or if he is, he's just 20. So our young core is great. The farm system is going really well. And we're just amassing these great draft picks. I'm thinking even it was just announced too, of going down to the draft in June. It's down in LA this year. Last year I went to the Sphere in Vegas for the big draft, getting Macklin, and that was such a cool experience. And again, I'm not even one to track the scouting reports that deep, and aside from Macklin, I didn't know any names. It's cool just to feel like you're part of that process and basically having something to root for a team that doesn't really hadn't have a lot to root for on the ice. So I'm excited for the Sharks. This is the big Canadian road trip that they're on right now. They're including a stop in Buffalo. Buffalo, by the way, is a city that both my parents are from there, so you'll hear me tout up Buffalo every now and then. I'm actually secretly a Bills fan too, so I'll cover the Niners here for the purposes of this podcast, but know that my real allegiance is my Buffalo Bills. So you'll hear that bias throughout. So we got the Warriors, we got the Sharks. Speaking of the 49ers, offseason, not a lot happening. It's a combine time right now, so I don't follow that stuff too closely. But one of the things that did catch my attention was a news story about Brock Purdy and wanting to get an extension. Niners wanted to. It's not getting done as fast as either side would like. And that is putting us into a worrisome position with the 49ers organization. I don't know what your thoughts are on this. Right now, it's sort of speculative. We know the conversations are happening. We haven't heard anything negative, but we haven't heard anything positive either. John Lynch addressed it very quickly during interviews at the Combine, just to say, it's funny. I forget what the exact quote was, but it's something like, well, there's a chance it can't get, or that it won't get done. I don't know. That sort of lack of optimism worries me. So we'll see that all of a sudden that becomes a situation worth monitoring a little bit closer. For a long time, the 49ers used to be such a great destination organization. I'm starting to feel like that's slipping away a little bit. The economics of, how to sign these guys. I know it's such a tricky thing, especially with a quarterback that's going to demand crazy amounts of money and the length of contracts, all that. And I know that talk about chess versus checkers. That's a situation that's kind of beyond but obviously for the 49ers, they need to get pretty locked in, and we'll see where it goes though. So, but yeah, I have this fear that it's going to be more dramatic and down to the wire than expected. I think it'll get done, but yeah, I don't know. That can obviously change the direction of the franchise in one way or another. Good or bad. If you pay him too much, it can prevent you from signing other guys. If you don't pay him enough, he's not happy and wants to leave. We'll see where it goes, but he's an important part. What else is going around in the Bay Area? Little controversy. Bay FC. We'll start talking about soccer. Our women's club here, 3 weeks or away or so from their opening day. Kind of an underreported story, but their director of scouting just resigned. I believe it was a resignation due to some inappropriate behavior. And I had to look that up, what his history was. It was not with Bay FC, but it's actually when he was the head coach at University of Oregon, the women's soccer team up there. And I'm thinking, okay, relatively young guy with a bunch of college girls. This is going to be show. It actually was nothing of a sexual nature. It was anger issues. And, he's, and as I'm beginning to research this, and I was like, oh my gosh, people upset because he got emotional. Well, it wasn't just that. It looked like a pretty bad situation. So much so that this is a couple of years ago now, too, when he was at Oregon, and it's come back. And I think in his resignation announcement that he just said, look, if I'm becoming a distraction to the team, this isn't good. But I want to give a shout out to the NWSL and the Bay FC Club. These are tough things because, and I don't know anything about this guy, reputation-wise, as a top-notch scout or whatever, but it seems just from the organization that they seem to prioritize the optics of this. And I'm saying this in a positive sense of, hey, this is not what we want for our club, for our league, and not an ideal situation. And this wasn't like this was swept under the rug in the past. This was something that people were aware of when he was hired. They even talked to the league about it at the time. I guess the complaint was that the Players Association for the NWSL, the Players Association said they were not consulted. So yes, Bay FC had checked with the league level, but did not check the Players Association. And that's where a little bit of the disconnect was. Players were upset by this and all that. So, but anyways, I don't even know the guy's name, and I apologize off the top of my head. I should have noted that, but he was a director of scouting for Bay FC. Just a little off-season drama there and so forth. I was really excited, for the start of the season here coming up in the end of March. So, but hopefully that doesn't distract the squad too much. And I didn't want to commend the organization and the league really for making this a priority, and the Players Association, it was the Players Association, I think, that pushed hard on this. So good point there. But the other soccer story that I really want to cover, the Earthquakes opened their season, and let me correct myself, the MLS leading San Jose Earthquakes. Maybe this is the only time of the year I could say that, but they were dominant in their 4-0 season opener at home against Real Salt Lake. So Cool to see. Salt Lake did not look impressive at all. Their Quakes, though, under new coach Bruce Arena, looked good. This wasn't just beating up on a bad team. I just felt like they dominated the whole game. They had a fifth goal would have been taken off, too. So, I mean, it was that dominant. I forget what all the stats were, but it was an incredible number of shots on goal. Goalie looked good, all that. So, I don't know, just new energy in that club. It's great to see. Can't get much worse than last year in terms of records. So, but a great win to start the season off. I'm excited to see what these next season, or what the whole season is. Earthquakes today just dropped their promotional calendar this year, so check that out. Maybe there's some games that you wanted to go to. I've already circled the Tacos and Tequila Day, so that was the promo that I was interested in. And then country music night, of course. But that's one of my personal interests. We'll see about that. Good stuff. Oh, what other sports do we need to cover? One more quick note, soccer thing. Now, this is outside of the Bay Area. With the Bay Area connection. That is, my favorite English Premier League club is Tottenham Hotspur. It's been an awful season. I won't even go into much depth about that. What I do like to do, though, and I did it this past week, was if I'm in the city and my company has an office in San Francisco, could jump over on a lunch break if there's a midday game, and Spurs were Manchester City, and I go to the official supporter bar to watch those matches. So it's Danny Coyle's in San Francisco. They're the supporter bar for the Spurs. They're the supporter bar for Manchester United, a couple other Bundesliga clubs as well, Munich. And so check it out. It's a great place just to grab a pint, enjoy the game. They're wonderful hosts. I always like the Spurs there. Gets a good group of supporters there that shows up. So, any fans out there who are Tottenham Hotspur fans, shout out, leave a comment about how you like going to Danny Coyle's as well. It's great to see him there. Appreciate the guys that hooked me up with T-shirts and swag and many a good laugh. Usually at the expense of our Tottenham Hotspur. I think we've covered all of the local sports. A quick mention about the Giants. I have not watched a lot of the spring training stuff that's going on. I hear from a couple friends who have gone down there, family members who have gone to games down in Arizona. I'll just say, first of all, it's a cool experience going down to Scottsdale and checking out any games there. I always enjoyed that experience. But what I was going to mention too was, even though I haven't watched a lot of these spring training games, I'm getting a little bit of excitement about this Bryce Eldridge for San Francisco, our top prospect. He hit a home run that I don't know if it's landed yet. They measured it at 450 feet there in the spring training opener. This guy's a power hitter. He probably won't come up immediately, but we expect him later this season for the Giants. It looks phenomenal. See, it's he's been dominating AAA in the past year. Starting to look great in spring training. It's probably going to be MLB ready here. So watch for his call up later this year. Oh, here's one. It's tennis news in the Bay Area. What? So at the Andre Iguodala retirement, it was kind of random. I'm like, why is Andre Agassi in the crowd there? I'm like, and they even gave him a quick shout out. I'm like, he just must be a fan in the Bay Area. No, he was in town in part because this fall in September, he is going to be the U.S. team captain for the Laver Cup, which is coming to Chase Center in September. And I admit, I had to look up what the Laver Cup was. It's pretty cool. It's a U.S. versus Europe team tennis tournament. It's a really cool thing. And it's going to be played at Chase Center over a few days in September 19th to 21st. Tickets go on sale, or at least pre-sale, tomorrow, the 28th of February. So circle that. I think it's going to be really cool. I got to mention here, too, that why this caught my attention, too, was seeing Andre Agassi. He was, a guy when I was growing up as a teen or a kid in the 90s that all of a sudden made me care about tennis. He was the bad boy with rebel attitude and dating supermodels and all that, and the long crazy hair then. Yes, he's bald now, but And back then it was quite the look and everything like that. So I had posters of them on my wall, and again, made a kid who never cared about tennis at all start tuning in, and just to see him captivate a new audience. And it's cool that he's stayed as such a big ambassador for the sport. So tennis is one of those things that I don't watch it a ton. I usually will watch the finals of the majors, or I was a big Roger Federer guy in the 2000s or so. That was, he kind of became the person that I would watch. So I would tune in more so for him. I found a new player. I mean, I kind of just root for any Americans in general if they're making it deep into the tournaments and so forth. But no, it's one of those sports that I'm always glad when I tune in to watch, even if I don't have a rooting interest, because I find I get myself really into the moment. And I think it harkens back all the way to, it was Andre Agassi and Venus Williams, not Serena. Serena came obviously later, but it was Venus Williams too. As a teenager, she and I are the exact same age. And when she started playing, but people I had pictures of on my wall, she was another one too that was a teenager or whatever, captivated my attention. And I thought she was so cool. And then when I found out, she had this little sister in Serena coming up and so forth, I was like, all right, we'll see if this... If little sis is as good as big sis. Well, we know how that turned out. So I think that covers all the topics I wanted to hit on today. So yeah, big win for the Warriors. Same old for the Sharks. Some off-season drama for some of our other clubs, the Niners and Bay FC. The Earthquakes off to a promising start. Giants, a little bit of excitement down in Arizona in the spring training. So good things happening. Good things happening too with this podcast. I appreciate you tuning in. Please continue to follow the show. And if you haven't, start following. Let's make it official. Leave a comment too. What do you want to hear about? Let's starting to line up some possible interviews with just local friends and stuff too, but also trying to get some industry folks as well too. Join us. And I'm going to try to make this a weekly base, and we'll see where this goes here on Silicon Sports Spectator. I'm Joe. Thanks again for tuning in for all your Bay Area professional sports fan experience talk. Thanks much. Out.